Back to the Red Mic and happy Tuesday. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for spending some time with me today. These Red Mic messages are leadership and life lessons I picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. Today's Red Mic message: holding without holding. It's a lesson that I picked up largely from my time as a mediocre athlete, but I also applied it when I was a football coach too. What am I talking about? Well, when I played football, I was a rule follower. Rules are rules, penalties are penalties. You don't want to be the guy who causes your team to get a holding penalty or offsides penalty. I never jumped offsides. Well, first of all, I played center, and the center is the guy who really starts the play. Um, you almost never hear about the center being called for offsides. Now, do they sometimes get the play wrong, the snap count wrong? Yeah. When the entire team jumps off sides and the ball hasn't moved, that's probably the center's fault. I don't remember that ever happening to me, though. Um, I would have one or two people jump, but never the entire line. And that was always a point of pride for me. Now, something I also love to do. Um, if I saw some, this was before encroachment was really a thing. They played pretty fast and loose with the line of scrimmage back then. The defense, as long as they were back before the snap, nobody ever got flagged for anything on defense. In fact, the rule used to be that if you're on offense and you move, even if the defense charged at you, if you flinched, that was on you because you knew the snap count and they didn't. Well, they've changed that now. If the defense charges at you and you flinch, they actually call that on the defense because it's probably more fair. I saw it as, you know what, you're on the offense, you know the snap count, have some discipline. But, rules change, things change. But back then, you know, they would jump, they would move past the line of scrimmage, and as long as they got back before the ball was snapped, it was all well and good. Well, even though, yeah, you see the glasses, I'm blind as a bat, I've got really good peripheral vision. So anytime I would see somebody move past the line of scrimmage, I'd snap the ball. Boom, we got 5 yards because they were offsides. Used to make opposing coaches just crazy mad. But, that was using the rules to my advantage. Now, on the other side, holding. I don't know if it was coaching, I don't know if it was my own stubborn attitude, but I always had the attitude I do not want to get flagged for holding. So I would just refuse. I would, get up into somebody and I would never turn my hands around and grab their shirt so they couldn't get away. Especially now, as long as you're in tight, as long as you're in like this, like that, however, the officials don't care. So that's holding without holding, right? Where they get you is if you're holding and then they pull away and then all of a sudden your arm is out here, or you take them and you put them to the ground and they see you do that. Yeah, then they're going to call you for holding, no doubt whatsoever. I was stubborn. I didn't want to hold, so I wouldn't. And eventually I learned, you know what? Yeah, it's the written rule, but then there's how the game is actually played. The officials are not going to throw a flag every time your hands are on that other guy's jersey. They watch for impact, they watch for intent, they also watch to make sure you're still in there tight. As long as you're in there tight and they're not pulling away, they're not going to call it. So I taught that to my players. I didn't view it as cheating, I viewed it as being a smart competitor because if they're not going to call it, because back then it wasn't the rule, it was just sort of the understood rule. Now it is a rule. They've loosened it quite a bit on the official blocking rules. And yeah, some people would have said that I was gaming the system. I think it was understanding the system. And that's not just in football, that's in life, that's in business, that's in how you deal with, for example, your taxes. The IRS has thousands and thousands of pages of rules. The smart person, if they can afford it, will hire smart people, smart accountants, to navigate those rules legally, efficiently, strategically, use the IRS's rules against them. It's not evasion, it is awareness. You see articles and they'll say, oh, so and so only paid so much in taxes. Okay. Did they pay them legally? Did they get audited and shown that they broke the rules, broke the law? No. Okay. Well, then that's not tax evasion. That's using the rules to your benefit. And if you use the rules to your benefit and you aren't breaking them, you're within the letter of the law, you're within the spirit of the law, all of that, then good for you. You know, I will never understand anybody who begrudges somebody for using the tax rules and the tax laws the way they're written. Hiring decisions. Sometimes you'll have a candidate come in and they won't check every box on that job description, but they've done the job. You know they can do the job. At that point, you've got to be a strong enough leader to look beyond just the black and white on the paper and understand your goals, understand your mission. What do you need this person to do? Even if the resume doesn't match up word for word, trust your judgment. Pull that trigger. Hire that person. Sometimes your best employees are going to be the ones who may not check every box, but they check around the box. It's the old, did he hit the target? No, but he shot around it and the middle sort of fell out. Same result, right? And that's today's Red Mike message. In sports, in tax law, in hiring, understanding how the rules are applied is usually just as important as knowing what they are on paper, knowing what they are in black and white. Because if you're not holding a little, you're probably not blocking enough. And again, that's today's Red Mike message. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you find it helpful. I hope you're able to put some of these ideas, concepts in place in your own life. I appreciate you being here. I would also very much appreciate a like, a follow, and a share. Help me get these Red Mike messages out to more people. You're spending time with me. Let your friends know. Let your professional contacts know, and I'd appreciate that a whole lot. Go out there, have a great day today. Knock the cover off the ball. I know you can do it. You know you can do it. So go out there and do it. I'll see you tomorrow, and until next time, life is short. Drink the bourbon.